Welcome to Apollo's podcast, where our destination is the constellation of the mind. I made that one up myself. But essentially, what we are going to talk about today is, or most of the time that I make these podcasts, they're going to be questions that I hear, questions that somebody asks me, and it's thought-provoking questions. It's questions that you may ask yourself and may be conflicted about, or may want to debate about, and things of the sort. So rock with me here. It's just me. I'm the only one talking. So I want you to think of this as if I was to pop up in front of you and just provide you with a one-way conversation where I cannot hear absolutely anything that you're saying. And I just want you to just rock with me that way. Just ride with me. But hear me out, and I'm really hoping that I may say something that may inspire you, that may drive you, that, or even if it's something that you may not agree with or something that you may want to debate about, that would be great too. Because what I think is a very healthy thing to do, especially with conversational things like this. I feel that being open-minded and being open to other suggestions is always healthy, because the thing is that you could add to your vault. You could add to you, right? Learn from somebody else, maybe something that you missed, maybe something that you didn't understand, and be able to express that to people and better you. You know what I mean? I think that is very important. I think that it's a good way of going about life, and I don't think it should be missed. I really don't. So stay with me here. Listen to me for a few minutes, and I'm finna drop some knowledge. You know what I mean? But like I always say, I like to be outside the box, but I also like to go back in every now and then, because sometimes you got to take a few knickknacks home from your trip out. You see what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, like, everybody has ideologies and everybody has principles, and you got to keep the two. So, all right, ride with me here. Here's the question. Should you let your flaws or mistakes define you? Now, let's say that we're restricted and we have no choice but to say either yes or no, and there's nothing else we could say to this. Well, my answer would be no. And here's why. Now, granted, I feel like some people are flooded with more flaws than positives, right? And I feel like some people are obviously flooded with more good than flaws. Because how I normally have an outlook on life is that you can't have your good without the bad, right? But you can't have your bad without the good. There's always something within it where there's a positive. I've never thought of something to just be 100% bad. In my opinion, I feel like that's very unrealistic. I mean, even down to terrible storms or national disasters and things like that, right? Like, there's a positive outcome that comes out of it. And it could be narrowed down to the smallest thing. But why let those things define you? Why let your flaws define you? If anything, I feel like the negatives that happen in your life, they're all essentially positives. And hear me out. There's something out of that terrible thing that happened to you that you can learn. There is something out of these frightening things, these mistakes that we make, these accidents, these mishaps that we could take from, despite how bad or how terrible it is. Now, hear me out. Pain has no price. And what that means is that we can never compare how bad something is, or this, that, and the third, because at the end of the day, everybody gets affected differently from every situation. No one is affected the same. Similarly, yeah, but I feel if we were to go traumatically, every brain is different. Every brain is wired to just react just a little different just from the next person. And that's only due to the experiences and the things that we go through in life. And I feel that the negative things in our lives, the L's that we take, those could be transferred into lessons. Because I feel that everybody's goal in life should be the best version of themselves. Because how important is that, right? To be the best version of yourself. Not the best human being on the planet. Not the best this or the best that. The best version of you. What you could be. And that doesn't mean that you need to be an astronaut, right? It doesn't mean that you need to be the president of the United States. It doesn't mean that you need to be the greatest warrior on the planet or the prettiest person. That means that you just need to be all you can be. And that could be narrowed down to so many different things of what you wish to be. I think the best version of yourself, is the one where you sit down and you feel like you have an S on your chest. You feel like you're at your peak, that you're living your life. You're happy. You found your peace. You found your love. You found all those things and you're sitting comfortably. I think this is something that we miss a lot in society today. A lot of the times I feel like that there's something keeping people just a little bit off of the edge of their seat, you know? Something that just almost keeps poking you, keeps bothering you. I feel like that there's never a moment where a lot of people take time out and settle, you know? I feel like it's very uncommon these days. Normally when you talk to people, it's, oh, I got all this going on, and oh, I got all that going on. I mean, it's very, very little that you find people who's just like, man, I'm just out here vibing, my boy. Like, no stress at all. Like, it's rare, you know? And I don't think it should be. Imagine if people just found more peace. Now, granted, I'm being a little unfair here because I feel like there is a lot of people who are, essentially forced into situations that are very, very difficult. And sometimes you cannot control that. Very understandable. Very understandable. And I can't even speak on behalf of that. You know what I mean? But I think all in all, right? I think it is a reasonable goal to have in life to be the best version of yourself. And I feel like that our flaws and our mistakes, they help get you there. They help teach us the things that we just may not have learned throughout our life experiences. They help provide us with the tools that we may be missing from our toolbox. How can that be viewed as something negative? Yes, it may put us through some emotional trauma. It may have you remember and be like, damn, why did I do that? That is bad, you know? But at the end of the day, look at yourself now. If you took the time out to learn from that mistake and fix it and make sure you don't make it again, sit back and pat yourself on the back. You didn't go back out there and make that same mistake. Or you didn't go out there and burden people with that flaw that you got. You fixed yourself for the next person. You ever heard the term to not only drive for yourself, but drive for others? That means that you could be the best driver in the world. You could be the most defensive. You could be, absolutely Jason Statham on the road. Great, I'm glad. But sometimes you got to make some of those defensive maneuvers for somebody else. Somebody else just may veer out of the lane. And you gotta, make the proper maneuver. Or somebody may stop short. And you got to turn your hazard lights on for the guy behind you to warn him that you should slow down. Because what that does is it doesn't only protect you, but it protects the people around you, right? And those people around you will turn around, and sometimes, it may not be all the time, because at the end of the day, we can't, not everything is black and white. Sometimes those people turn around and be able to drive for you too. And that's the world that we should be pushing. That's what we should be reaching for. That's the human nature that we should be running for, is a world where we could all turn around and reach out to one another one day. Because why not? At the end of the day, we all share this common thing. We're all human beings, right? And I think that's common enough for us to be able to, reach out, hold one another down every now and then, a little good deed. At the end of the day, the world that we live on, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. But you sitting down listening to me, I think that's a step. You heard me, and hopefully one day I can hear you, because maybe you got something to tell me. Don't let your flaws define you. Don't let your mistakes define you. If you make it, turn around and just try to do better next time so you could be a better version of you. And I promise you that people will notice you. People will see you. And one day someone will turn around and they'll reward you for it. Now, I'm not saying to sit here and expect to get all gifts like it's your bar mitzvah or something. Because, man, that's not how this works. I'm saying that gift your heart. Because you want to be able to be old and limber and get hit by a truck and be on your deathbed and look into the sky and smile and be alright with what you've done, with the stamp that you left on the world. Please do not be old and get hit by a truck. I am not instilling any violence at all. That was just a very extreme example. I know I pushed that a little too far. But all in all, be the best version of you. And I think you're going to hear me say that a lot. But rock with me here. I think that is a very beautiful thing to say. And I promise you, somebody like me, I will always try to better me, right? But I want to notice you bettering you. So if you're sitting there saying that you can't do this, or if you're sitting there saying that you can't make it here, if you're sitting there just holding yourself back with all the negative shit, you just think that you just cannot do what you want to do. I want you to inject your dream into your adrenaline, heart rush, whatever. Just drive yourself right now. Push yourself. Just go. Do what you gotta do. Don't let nobody hold you back. Understand that there's people out there. There's people on their deathbed wishing that they could possibly do what you may want to do. There is someone out there that wish they could turn around and walk that way you walk. Talk like the way you talk. And granted, you may not ever had, met that person. You don't even know who that is. But imagine having the opportunity with the little restriction that you got. Imagine being more luckier than the next guy to do it. Take advantage of it. Take it by the balls. Grab the world where you need it, so you could be the best you. This is Apollo's world, where our destination is the constellation of the mind. And I hope you guys tune in on a constant basis just to hear me tell you guys to grab the world by the balls. I will keep telling y'all. Ayo, pause. Y'all have a good night.